Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brooke Valley. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association, and I'm based here in Wilmington. And we partner with the New Hanover County Public Library on several programs throughout the year, and they're great partners in the community with their memory kits and some more information that you'll learn about. But this program, Caregiving During the Holidays, is obviously very timely and has some great tips and strategies that take you through no matter what your situation may be. But I want to go ahead and introduce our number one requested community educator, Juanita Wade. She's been volunteering with us many years and she's just fabulous. She does a very successful support group. She's done things with us on a national level and is a great partner to be able to share and has been through her own caregiving journey with her mother. So I will go ahead and introduce Juanita Wade and kick off our program.
Thank you so much, Brooke. Well, good morning. I guess it's this afternoon. It's good afternoon. I'm so honored to join you all today. And I want to talk about the partnership with the libraries. The libraries are wonderful partners. And so we're pleased that we're able to do this with the library today. I'm going to bring up the screen so you see what today's program is about. And we're going to talk about, as Brooke said, caregiving during the holidays. And this is a particularly good program for folks who understand the importance of the holiday time and its impact on their families. So, as Brooke says, I've had lots of experience because my mom lived with my husband and me in the last days of her life, and holidays were always important for her and important for us. So let's get started. Caring for during the holidays. I'm gonna click over here. Okay. By the end of today's program, I hope you're going to be able to get a greater understanding of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Really very important because they're similar but different. We want you to provide care for yourself and your loved ones during the holidays. Challenging time for a lot of families. We want you to adjust your expectations and holiday plans to you and your loved ones' needs and abilities. That is so important because there are often expectations by other members of your family, but you've got to set your own. And we want you to remain flexible and educate family and friends about the disease, holiday safety, and sensitivity. Well, let's first start with Alzheimer's and related dementia. We think of dementia as an umbrella term because under dementia are the various kinds of dementia, of which Alzheimer's is the most common. So in dementia, there's Alzheimer's, there's vascular dementia, dementia with Lewy bodies, frontotemporal dementia, Parkinson's disease, and many others. This gives you a sense, again, they are all in the dementia box, but they play out differently and they affect different parts in terms of symptoms and behaviors. So again, Alzheimer's is the most common. The symptoms may vary, but and those symptoms result from damage to the brain and nerve cells. Alzheimer's disease and the brain. A few years ago at Discovery Museum, there was a wonderful exhibit showing a healthy brain and an advanced Alzheimer's brain in real life, in real time, so you could see it. But this disease causes changes in memory. I think that's the one people talk about the most, but there are certainly other areas it affects as well. Language, thought, navigation, your movements, getting around, your behavior, personality and mood, and planning and organizing. And it's all of these areas. Again, you may not see behavioral changes in all of these areas, but it does affect these areas, and sometimes behaviors are more prevalent than others. Alzheimer's disease, stages of progression. In the early stage, most people who are in early stages of Alzheimer's can function independently, but have memory lapses. And they may have problems with concentration. They may have problems with remembering to perform certain tasks that they do, like paying their bills or some routines that they're used to doing. They may not be doing them as they did in the past. In the middle stage, people have a lot more confusion with words. And so they use other ways of expressing themselves and understanding their caregivers. There are changes in their personality and behaviors, forgetfulness of events and personal history. So they may start confusing even family members. They may start calling their children by the names of their siblings. So there are also changes in sleep patterns. And in the last and severe stage, it requires all around the clock care. Their activities of daily living are totally disrupted and must be supported and cared by caregivers. They're unable to respond to the environment or hold a conversation. They have significant changes in their physical abilities and are really unaware of recent experiences. And so as we talk about this holiday time, you can start to think about how do you adjust what you do for the holiday if your loved one is in the early stage, the moderate stage, or the late stage. Well, what is the greatest risk known factor for Alzheimer's disease? There's genetics, there's family history, and there's age. Let's go with age. Age is clearly the most prevalent of risk factors, and you can be assured as you age beyond 65, 70, 75, people are at higher risk of getting the disease. Now, clearly, if you have a family history, and you have genetics that drive your risk factors, they will affect if you get this disease. But age, you can guarantee the older you get, you see larger percentages of people who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Well, let's talk about the main thing. How does this impact holidays? All right. What are some of the challenges? Well, for families living with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, the holidays can be really challenging. How do you maintain traditions? How do we incorporate travel? A lot of folks go across the country to see family, spend time with friends. How do we plan for entertaining visitors? How do we assess if the environment is safe? Big issue. How is it safe? Is it safe? And how do we involve our loved ones who have the disease? The holidays are filled both with opportunities and challenges, and disappointments, and sometimes sadness. A person with Alzheimer's may, in fact, feel a special sense of loss during the holidays because the changes he or she is going through really affect their ability to participate in the way they've done historically. So let's move on. So, caring for a person with dementia. First of all, you want to evaluate the person's needs. And so if you're planning some activities, you want to think about that. You can expect changes. If a year ago during the holiday, mom or dad or sibling or your loved one was behaving in a certain way and carry on responsibilities in a certain way, you can expect changes this year. And you have to be ready for that. And note the effect of the environment. The holiday time is a time when there are lots of people around, lots of activities. There's a lot of socialization, family coming to the house, or you and your loved one going out to join families. So you want to know what's going on and want to be careful to pay attention to what's going on in the environment. You want to check in with family periodically and see what they're doing, and you'd like them to check in with you periodically. You want to focus on activities that bring happiness while building on past traditions. If past traditions, though, are painful or not comfortable or done in a way that are unsafe for your loved one, you want to think about doing something different. And you want to encourage participation. Your loved one's behavior, they may have moved from the mild stage to the middle stage or from the middle stage to the severe stage, but you want them to be as participatory as they can. Caring for yourself. Well, I'm going to tell you, as a facilitator for a group of caregivers, I talk about caring for yourself all the time. And during holiday season, the stress level goes much, much higher in terms of expectations that family has for you to be involved. And if the person living with disease is your father or mom, how are you going to bring them into being social? So you want to balance solitude with sociability. How much social activity do you or your loved one want to engage in? You want to plan something for yourself that's separate from the care you have to give to your loved one. Do something special for yourself. take a day off and go to a spa or take long walks or whatever brings you joy. You want to focus on those moments of joy. Plan ahead. Now, here we are. We're coming to the end of October. We've got a big holiday or several holidays that happen in November and several holidays that happen in December. Let's plan ahead. Let's not wait till November to start thinking about it or December to start thinking about those. Ask for assistance. No one said you've got to do this by yourself. And hopefully you've built a strong support network around yourself with neighbors and friends, your faith community, your medical team, whomever is a part of your network. You want to pull them in and ask for assistance. Don't wait for them to ask. It may not come. Be prepared to ask for assistance. Ask for what you need. And enjoy spending time with those you love. That's what holidays are about, spending time with the people you love. Plan for family holiday discussion. Now, you have to think about how you want to do this. Is it best done by telephone? Well, if people are far away, clearly that's what works. If it's video chat, you want to do that. If it's email, you want to do that, or in person. But planning ahead. Don't let a holiday hit you and there it is. If historically you've done this huge restaurant activity where all the family comes and bombards the local restaurant together, but if your loved one who is living with the disease will not fare well in that environment, you want to rethink that family activity. You want to rethink that even if it's a tradition. Second, give yourself permission to do only what you can reasonably manage for yourself and for the loved one you're caring for. This is not about making everyone else happy. This is about doing what you reasonably can manage, and only you will know what that is. You want to ensure that the family understands the caregiving situation. Consider writing a letter or email to familiarize others with your situation. I tell folks this all the time. Don't wait again. Don't wait until you're about to celebrate a holiday activity. You want to let your family know how you are doing and or how your loved one is doing periodically. And writing a letter seems like a simple thing, but it can be challenging. I've got a sample here. Here's one. I'm going to read it to you and we'll read together. I'm writing to let you know how things are going at the house. We're looking forward to your visit. We thought it might be helpful for you to understand our current situation before you arrive. Really important. Don't have folks show up and go, oh, I didn't know mom was so far along or dad was not able to do these things anymore. You want them to know before family arrives. And even if they're not going to come for the holiday, keeping them informed of your progress and or your loved one's progress is important. You may notice that mom has changed since you last saw her. Among the changes are I've enclosed a picture so you know how mom looks now, because sometimes mom has problems with remembering and thinking clearly. Her behavior is a little unpredictable. So please understand that mom may not remember who you are and may be confused and may confuse you with someone else. So please don't be offended by this. She appreciates your being with us, and so do we. Please treat mom as you would any person. A warm smile, a gentle touch on a shoulder or a hand will be appreciated. You know, something else I'd put in here. I would put in here, you may want to, when you come up to mom, introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself. If mom doesn't recognize you, it's important that she know who you are. So you might tell a familiar story about something you and mom used to do. Those are ways to help mom feel comfortable about this new person in her space. So the letter ends with, we'd ask you that you call when you're nearby so we can prepare for your arrival. And with your help and support, we can create wonderful holiday memories for all of us to treasure. This is a really simple letter. And I would say it's a great letter to prepare for the holidays, but it's also a great letter just to periodically bring people up to speed on how you and or your loved one are doing. Involve the person who's living with Alzheimer's in your planning. The last thing you want to do is have your loved ones in some other space as you work with family members on this huge holiday that you're going to spend together. You want to involve the person in a safe and manageable holiday preparation activities. And why I say have them involved, they may not want to do any of this. And it's important for them to be able to say that. On the other hand, they may be excited about the fact that there's going to be social activities going on, and engaging them around food preparation, baking those cakes, those pies and cookies, those special things for the holiday. Gift wrapping, it's not about how well it's wrapped, it's about getting it wrapped. So involving them in gift wrapping and decorating. Again, it's not how perfect the decorations are, it's in fact how someone's engaged in this traditional activity. So I'd say those are areas that definitely will be important to involve your loved one in, the person living with the disease. Maintain as best you can the person's normal routine. And this is really important. Just because it's a holiday, you don't want to throw out the normal activities that go on in the household, because disruption of that schedule may in fact raise anxiety, may increase aggression, may not be healthy for you or your loved one with the disease. So you want to maintain the routine as much as possible. If you think having these activities that are planned will disrupt the normal routine, then you have to rethink those activities, because the normal routine and a safe space is the most important thing for your loved one. Build on the traditions and memories. You don't have to start something brand new because your loved one has Alzheimer's. Build on what is already in place, those things that have made people joyous and have made the days memorable. But stay flexible. Stay flexible. If your activity was to go out and the weather's horrible and folks have decided to go to a dinner meal instead of a brunch meal, stay flexible. You may have to say, nope, mom does not do well during afternoon. The effects of sundown is real. So if we can't do this in the early part of the day, I don't think mom can participate. Be flexible and be strong. Push your conviction. You've got to let them know you've got to do what's best for you and your loved one. Adapt the gift giving. So what kind of gifts can be considered enjoyable for a person, for an individual with Alzheimer's? Well, certainly adaptive clothing. If mom's or dad or your loved one has a lot of stuff that ties or buttons or zips, you may start thinking about some Velcro or pull over your head shirts or clothing that's adaptive to the loved one's abilities. You want to try to think about some activities that have been favorites for them. It may be looking through photo albums or watching videos on a large screen of family activities, or tasting really great foods, particularly foods that they love, or engaging in some hobbies that mom or your loved one or whomever love to do. So that's what you want to think of. Gift giving in a way that brings instant joy, not something they're going to do down the road. I've got you a trip to Paris, France in 6 months. Sounds great, but you want gifts that bring joy, immediate joy today and now. And think about sensory related gifts that ensure safety. Again, think about the stage your loved one is in. If it's in the early stage, I think the historic traditional activities and gifts would be absolutely wonderful. But stop and think, in the moderate and in the severe stages of this disease, there really has to be a change in the gift giving, and you have to think of safety being first. But sensory gifts in terms of smell, in terms of taste, in terms of touch, wonderful light blankets that are velvet, feels wonderful. Might be a nice gift for the lap for your loved one. So think about sensory related gifts that are safe. Adapt gift giving also for the caregiver. Again, it might be nice to have a bottle of perfume, and it might be nice to have a new set of glasses or a large bottle of liquor on your bar. But I think you ought to think about those things that would be most beneficial to the caregiver, like an hour of house cleaning each week for the next 5 weeks, or taking care of the lawn, or taking care of the handyman activities or services that need to go on. Laundry services. I'm sure if you wrote a little note saying every Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, you'll be over to do the week's laundry for your sister or your whoever is caregiving, would be wonderful. Restaurant gift cards, and think, it doesn't mean they've got to go out to the restaurant. Now with gift cards, they can have meals delivered. And volunteer services to visit with the loved one who is living with Alzheimer's, to give the caregiver some respite. Really important. And you know something? As a caregiver, you get the right to ask for these things. You should say to the family early enough so they can get prepared. No material gifts. What I'd like are social gifts. House cleaning, cutting the lawn, laundry services, cooking. Every Thursday afternoon, so-and-so is going to come and cook a meal. These are adapted gifts that are absolutely wonderful. So I hope you consider them. Flexibility. Do a variation on the theme. Again, if the traditional activity is a big, huge, festive come together outside or even inside, and it's going to disrupt your loved one's sense of safety, you've got to change it. You've got to change the theme, maybe. You want to avoid any known triggers. You, as a caregiver, know what sets your loved one off, what creates an unsafe environment for them. And by unsafe, I mean anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, anxious, aggressive, anything that changes their behavior is a trigger. So you want to be aware of those triggers and avoid them. Arrange for in-home care and respite. It would be great, again, spending some money at holiday time is important, but you get to spend it on some stuff that might make for time for you to get away or special time for your loved one. In the picture, I think that is so nice. So you've got, it may be family members or not, but getting pampered at holiday time would be a wonderful opportunity for your loved one. Traveling. Lots of folks travel, and traveling can be quite a challenge. So go with traveling options that provide the most comfort, safety, and the least amount of anxiety. If you're an hour away, maybe riding in a car is not uncomfortable. So think about that. But if you're traveling across the country and it means a flight, will that create anxiety? Will that be a safe ride? Will that be, the most comfortable for you and your loved one? May not be. So you want to assess that. You want to think about if there are some safe traveling options for traveling across the country. And if there are not, then you want to change your plans. Stick with what's familiar. Traveling, again, by car for a loved one. If this is something you do even now, going to another city, going to another town, even going out on a daily basis in the car for rides, if that's familiar, and your loved one is comfortable and feels safe, maybe you can go a little further. Maybe you can go a 2-hour ride to visit family or friends for the holiday. Travel to known destinations. You may not want to go to some place that you have never been before or don't know how comfortable or safe it's going to be for you and your loved one. So you want to do some research and make sure you know what's on the other end of this travel. And try to visit places that were familiar before the onset of dementia. You know, if you live now in North Carolina, but your family lived at one time in Virginia, going to the old homestead might be a nice place to go. It may bring comfort and joy and fond memories back to both you and your loved one. Be flexible. Tips for safe traveling. Keep the person safe by taking precautions. Pay attention. Pay attention even if you have to stop and get gas. Do you leave your loved one in the car alone? Do you make sure that the doors are locked? Think about keeping the person safe. Have a bag of essentials with you at all times. If you're traveling by plane, your main luggage may get lost, but you need to make sure you have the crucial and critical items, medication and other things in the bag that you are carrying for yourself and or for your loved one. Pack only the necessary items. Don't make choosing outfits for a day a big deal. So if you're going for 5 days, you may want to take 4 outfits and have the person wear something more than once. Pack light, but only take what's necessary. Create an itinerary. Depending upon where your loved one is in their progression of the disease, having them know where you're going to be stopping, how you're going to do things, maybe something you discuss with them. Once someone's in a moderate or severe stage, the traveling is less so, but you still want them to know, and you want to create an itinerary that makes sense for all of you. And consider the best time of day for the individual. Remember, you know your loved one. You know if there are difficulties in the morning, difficulties in the afternoon, difficulties in the evening. So you want to make sure that your travel is in the time period when there's least concern about anxiety. All right. When the individual lives in a care facility, so you want to make sure that any activities you're planning, you're done in conjunction with the care facility, and to make sure that the management is comfortable with whatever those plans are. Consider joining your loved one at his or her community for the holiday activities. Most care facilities have some form of activity for the people who live there and their families. So you may want to bring a favorite holiday food to share. Again, you want to discuss this with management. You want to sing holiday songs you can and ask if other residents can join in. A great group sing-along would be lots of fun. You might want to read a favorite holiday story or poem out loud. Again, see if management is interested in having other members of the community join in. And share holiday traditions and culture with family, friends, and neighbors. So coming to the care facility with a small group of family and friends may be a great plan. Make sure you talk to management ahead of time. But just because someone's in a care facility doesn't mean that you cannot carry on your holiday traditions as you've done in the past. Holiday safety. Consider safety options both in the home and in care communities. Here's some tips I think are really important. Identify certain foods that may cause choking. You don't want to prepare those. And you want to make sure that family is not bringing those. Simplify portion size placed on a dinner plate. Make sure when you're thinking about what the loved one's going to eat off, that the dinner plate is a different color than the table that you are serving from. Assess potential hazardous decorations. We know that bulbs, some are made from glass and can shatter. Small popcorns, those small hooks that hold bulbs onto the tree, any of those loose pieces of decoration can be dangerous to your loved one. And so you want to make sure that you're thinking differently about how you decorate the tree. Yes, there may be some tradition where you only use these bulbs and these hooks and these decorations. But if you are, again, thinking first of the safety and the well-being of your loved one, you want to change those traditions. You want to limit shopping with the person who has dementia. Stop and think about when you are tired or when you have been ill. Traipsing around in a large department store can be kind of difficult. Well, stop and think what happens at holiday times with those department stores when you have a gazillion people walking through those malls. You may limit the time or how much you do that with the person with dementia. Early in the morning in the mall, when the store first opens, may be a good time. Lunchtime is not, and neither is after work. After work is when the crowds usually come. So limit how you shop. Most people do a lot of stuff online, but you want to engage your loved one in that as well. Sitting together in front of the computer, looking at things that he or she may like and talking with them about it is a good way to choose some gifts for yourself, your loved one, or other friends. Try to keep the noise level at a minimum. You know how noisy it can get, at during holiday time, even with 5 people in your home can be noisy. Can you imagine if they're 10 or 15? I would also say that number of people may in fact disrupt the regular schedule. So you want to think about how many people you have, when you have them, and how noisy they can be. This doesn't mean you can't have a good time. I hope I'm not making it sound like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a downer. Not at all. You want the holiday season to be joyous for everyone, but we want to respect where people are in their as their disease progresses. Advice for holiday visitors. Plan accordingly based on the individual. Visit regularly and dependably for short periods of time at the best time, again, for the individual. This is not about the visitor. It's about who's being visited. So best time may not be after work or late in the afternoons. It may be early in the day. So plan accordingly. Focus on one-on-one visits. They're often less confusing than the large groups. Small, intimate one-on-one conversations, time. Again, if the person is in their last stage of Alzheimer's, a small, intimate visit is so nice, where you get to brush someone's hair, maybe pamper their hands, rubbing their hands with nice lotions, rubbing their feet, and having them smell nice, delicious cookies or stuff that you may have put on a cotton ball that they loved, a cologne or something. So the one-on-one visits are really very special. It can be so joyous for someone living with the disease. Recognize and use humor. Always a good joke. People laughing is always a way to bring in your loved one. Affection and praise. 3 things sometimes we don't always think about doing, but it's so important for our own health and safety and for our loved ones. The gift of perspective. Alzheimer's blog. How many families are dealing with visitors and new perspectives? Quite a lot. And there's so many resources to access during the holidays. So ALZ is a great place for you to get information on how do you plan the best holiday. I want you, one, to know the websites, but I also want you to know that number at the bottom, that 1-800-272-3900. I tell people all the time, I carry it on my band, on my wrist. I write it sometime in my palm when I'm in the supermarket and sharing information with people. But these resources at the website are great. Go to alz.org/care. And there's information at our care center, caregiver center, the Alzheimer's Navigator, the ALZ Connected Community Boards, and the Resource Finder, and definitely our local chapter in North Carolina. That's the website down below. And the 24-hour helpline is absolutely invaluable. So, questions?
Juanita, thanks for doing such a great job as always. I loved how you included the information.
I can't hear you, Brooke.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Brooke, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you still not hear me, Juanita? Okay.
Here, I'm going to take back the host
It's my
capabilities.
system. Sorry. I can hear now.
Okay. I was just going to say how I liked how you put the mention in there. It's not how it's gift wrapped, that it's wrapped. I mean, I think we could use that across the board as I teach my 7-year-old how to wrap, that it's not what it looks like, that it gets wrapped, and that's the important part. So that strategies and the advice can really kind of carry over through so many aspects.
Absolutely.
And Juanita, just knowing your background with the support groups, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that come out of caregiving during the holidays?
I think the traditions, people don't understand, or rather, they don't prepare their families for the need to be flexible. And I think they go into the holiday period with their family believing that, well, we haven't seen mom for the last 6 months. And this is going to be the time that everybody's going to get to see mom. So we're all going to be there and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And oftentimes the caregiver has felt, uh-oh, they're making these plans, but I don't think they're the plans that are going to work for our mom. And so I don't know what to do. So that's why when I said that letter that you can write to prepare for the holiday, really should be a letter that you use all year long. You may want to send a letter out quarterly, not related to the holiday, but just saying mom's behavior has changed and she is here now. Or mom or dad's behavior has changed and is here. He's progressed in the disease. And so you can actually say in January, if mom's behavior changes in this way, we may have to do Hanukkah or Christmas or another holiday differently. So the preparation, I think folks in the support groups have said, I'm not ready. Here we are 2 months away from Christmas. And I don't know what to do because they all want to come over and see mom. And so, you have to help them walk through that they get to make the decision. The caregiver needs to take the lead on whatever that holiday is going to look like with the loved one.
Absolutely. And of course, adapting the gift giving for the caregiver. Those are just the kind of gifts that I like to. Please come deep clean my house and do the baseboards. So let's get everybody on board with giving that kind of gift.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, don't wait till someone asks you what you want. I tell people, make up your list. Right now, I'm a grandmother of 3 little ones. And I tell my daughters all the time, don't wait till 2 weeks before the holiday to tell me what the children want or need. I need to know now. So I got one gift, as a matter of fact, yes, one gift request yesterday. But again, if you get together a list of the things that you need as the caregiver, if you put a list together of those things that would benefit the person living with the disease and share that and say,
Right.
Every year you all are wonderful and you buy me this, you buy me a coat, you buy me a hat and a perfume. But this year, these are the things I need. I need help with cooking and cleaning and laundry and picking things up from the grocery store for me. These are the things I need. And if you all would look at this list, I would really appreciate these kinds of gifts. Easy.
Absolutely. And then even thinking too in the preparations for the holidays, sometimes I think, why am I taking off after Christmas? I need like every Wednesday off leading up to the holiday because there's so much to get ready for.
That's
so
right.
Thinking kind of that pre part too between Thanksgiving and Hanukkah or whatever holiday that you do celebrate.
That's right. And one to think about is I think traditionally people think that food preparation is important to the tradition. Well, it may be, but you know something, catering is a lot easier. It's a lot easier. And if you said to the family, listen, instead of you all trying to cook all this stuff or me cooking all this stuff since I'm hosting, I'm going to cater and I could benefit from having you help me have this meal catered. And so again, that's a way to give a gift. You have that macaroni and cheese brought in from the best macaroni and cheese restaurant down the street, or fried chicken or big ham or whatever it is you have on the holiday. The gift could be that you are paying for the catering.
We use that, or I buy that gift for my mom at Thanksgiving because too many years that dried out turkey and the stress of getting up to do it. I said, I'm just going to buy the turkey.
Right.
And everybody do the sides, and then we won't have to worry about it anymore. And nobody complains that there is dried turkey.
That's right. And people get to participate. You know, what you want to have happen for the holiday is participation.
Mm-hmm.
All we're trying to do is talk about how flexible we want you to be in that participation. It's not necessarily going to look the same as it did last year, nor will it look the same next year. But if family is willing, and if you're comfortable as a caregiver talking with your family, you can get them to be flexible enough to make sure the event is the safest, most comfortable, and joyous event for the loved one living with the disease.
Great. And I have one more question I thought I'd put out there, and then we'll turn it back over to Christina. But are there any tips, or do you have any thoughts on caregivers who might feel really alone during the holidays? Maybe they wish they had kind of these extended plans, and for whatever reasons, maybe traveling is not something that is able to happen, and vice versa. What could they do to maybe make the holidays a little special in a smaller scale environment?
Well, the small intimate visits are really important, and you can schedule those ahead of time. But another one is, I think we've gotten so proficient with Zoom and video conferencing that to have the family, maybe your family is in Los Angeles and they can't come, but to have the family to tape a greeting for the loved one who is living with the disease. And that gets shown on the holiday morning as part of opening a gift. Here's a video we're going to show of the family that's far away sending their greetings. I think that's a great thing to do. Another is, if you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of foot traffic, your neighbors show their lights on their homes, or there's community gatherings. The front window, open the blinds, open the drapes, and have your loved ones sit at the window and encourage your neighbors to wave as they're walking by your home. That's a great way to engage your neighbors and your community in celebrating with your loved one, and helping that feeling of being alone go away. I think that's so much fun. And sending a little note at 2:00 on Friday afternoon, if the children in the neighborhood could walk down the street past the house and wave. I
That's
just think there are ways to engage with other folks with not necessarily exposing them. Mom doesn't have to go outside, or they don't have to come inside.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you so much, Juanita. And as always, thank you for doing a great job leading the program again. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right. So thank you both so much for joining us. We really appreciate the work that you do, the information that you put out there, and just your willingness to share your passion, your resources with the library and with the people here in Wilmington and beyond. What I'm going to do briefly is show a few of the library resources that we have. Earlier this year, we started developing some resources that it kind of came to our attention that there was a large segment of the population that really needed to be connected with resources in a way that we knew we could help. And we hope that we can continue to help. So what I'm going to do here is just share my screen, and we are going to look at some of the library resources that we offer. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So, so first go to nhclibrary.org. It takes you to our homepage. And then if we go over to research and health, and then memory care resources. This is just one of the easier ways to get there. Here under memory care resources, we have things like our memory care kits. We have things for, we have kits that come with games and puzzles and community resources, information for both your loved ones with Alzheimer's dementia and for caregivers as well. There's a packet in each of these for caregivers and information we can provide to them. We have early, middle, and late stage kits these are in little backpacks that you can check out. If you want to make copies of things out of there, we're okay with that. We can help you do that. And then we go over to the general resources, and we have things like podcasts. We have the National Institute on Aging. We have all different caregiver support programs and resources to reach out to as well. And then over at local resources, we have the Area on Aging, Project Care, Alzheimer's Association, and then the Connections program with Cameron Art Museum. We recently just expanded our book collection that focuses primarily on Alzheimer's, dementia, and caregivers. So a lot of activities, a lot of just kind of, this is how, knowing that you're not alone and knowing that there are people and there are people and groups that are out here to help and understand. And then our library and community programs. We have a regular Alzheimer's dementia caregiver support group that meets at the Northeast branch on the first Tuesday of the month. We have any of the programs that we do here. We connect to the Alzheimer's Association calendar of events and any other online programs that we do, the Know the 10 Signs that we did earlier this year. We have these recordings up here as well. And so these are just some of the resources that the library offers. We are always open to hearing more. If you have an idea, if there's something that you need, reach out to us, let us know. And we are happy to see how we can connect your needs with the resources that we can provide. So thank you both again. We really appreciate you coming to do this for us, and look forward to working with you both in the future. Juanita and Brooke, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You all have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well.